Today I wanted to look back at DEVON LARRATT versus ERMES GASPARINI East versus West for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I just think this is a great example of how to fight your opponent in a way to remove his power rather than gain access to your power, but also because I think this is a great example of what the Denis versus ERMES match probably will not look like. I've heard some people saying that ERMES is going to defeat Denis because DEVON kind of struggled against Denis to a certain degree, but then DEVON beat ERMES really easily. I don't think that the arm wrestling math is going to work in that way, and it is because of the style match. If we take a look at what DEVON LARRATT is doing in this match versus ERMES, this is not at all what Denis is going to do against ERMES. DEVON is setting up in a way to fight for height. Firstly, he has an arm that is much longer than ERMES, so his potential to generate height is much higher. And we can see already in the setup here, ERMES is lifting his elbow. Now, it may just look like, well, ERMES is cheating here. He's trying to get an unfair deep grip, but really, what's going on is that DEVON is subtly rising and supinating this whole time. He's trying to create distance between his hand and ERMES' hand to make it really difficult for ERMES to contain and hold on to him. And this is very effective. We see ERMES trying to reach, but what's going to happen in this match is that DEVON is always going to stay just out of reach. And I think that a good example of his ability to generate height in this match is this first close right here. Notice how DEVON is actually able to double cap his thumb. He's closing two fingers over the top of his thumb. Normally when you can do that, that either means that you have generated a high degree of supination in the setup or that your webbing is higher. And really, if you've supinated in the setup or if your webbing is higher, it's kind of the same thing. You are limiting the opponent's coverage on the back of your hands either way, and it's going to make it really difficult for your opponent to contain you. Denis Saplenkov is not going to do this. More than likely, he's going to take a low grip and allow ERMES access to his power. And notice that when the go actually happens, we don't see an ERMES GASPARINI that has full access to his power and just isn't strong enough. We see ERMES having his access to power taken away. ERMES isn't even able to use his 95 kilograms of back pressure because as soon as he attempts to use that crazy back pressure, immediately his wrist goes back. So he actually moves the match backward until his wrist goes back, and then he can't do anything. So the issue here is not that ERMES' back pressure or that his arm power is not strong enough, it's that his hand is not strong enough to give him access to his back pressure and side pressure, and that's all because of the way that DEVON's set up and the way in which he attacked ERMES' hands. And that's what led to DEVON getting such a decisive victory here. The style match was just nearly impossible for ERMES. He always tends to struggle with longer arm top rollers. He defeated Gennady Kvokvinya, but then lost to Alex Krdecha. He defeated Dave Chafee, but then lost to DEVON LARRATT. There are certain style matchups that just work great for ERMES and others that just don't. And I think that this video is good evidence that ERMES will do well against Denis, even though he lost to DEVON. And that is because DEVON is setting up in a way to challenge height, whereas Denis is going to take a low grip and not challenge height. If ERMES' opponent is challenging height against him, he's going to struggle. But if they don't challenge height in the match, he's going to have access to all his power, and then probably no one in the world can beat him. So let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think that the DEVON versus ERMES match is a good representation of what the Denis versus ERMES match is going to look like? Or do you agree with me that probably these style matches are entirely different, and even if DEVON can destroy ERMES, that does not mean that Denis can destroy ERMES?